Hey, how's it going? So we're gonna be making this one. It's basically a replica of this one here. You see, so you can click, it transitions, right? There's also, you can slide by hand, right? There is condition in here, so if you go halfway, it goes back to the original slide. If you do more than half, it slides to the next one. And then there's obviously tracking in here. So we're gonna do exactly the same. You see, we're gonna have movement you can do by hand. If it's only halfway, it goes back to the original. If you do more than half, it slides. And it's infinite as well, so you see that it's not forever. Now, you cannot click on these because they don't have this function. And the other thing we're gonna skip is we're not gonna do these transitions. We are just gonna do the carousel and the hand movements. You see, because like transition, you can probably figure out how to do this stuff yourself. You know, it's not that difficult. It's just on transition and animate, right? And then you write your animate function. So, which is straightforward. Okay, so I need to create a branch probably, right? Do I need to create a branch? Yeah. Let me just create a branch. I'll pause the video 1 sec. Whoops, I forgot to say that all of this code is gonna be here. And there is your repo. I'm gonna link it in the description below so you have access. Now, there are 3 builds, right? So this one is very simple. This one is slightly more complex, and this one has like everything in it. So now this is not going to be easy tutorial. So I'm saying that if you're a React starter, JavaScript beginner, it's not going to be a good tutorial for you because it's going to be too complex. Okay, so maybe try other tutorials before this one. Okay, so let me create a branch 1 sec. Okay, so this is just completely brand new create React app. It's completely blank. So, okay, so I will have this to my side, so I'll try to copy the names the same, so you don't get confused, you know. Alright, so the first thing we want to do, I think I have some, yeah, so we want to comp 1, so this is like our container. We want to put some padding, which is 100 pixels, border, 1 pixel solid red, and we want to position our item center. Right? Yes. So this is what it's going to look like. Now, the reason why I put borders is so you can visually see elements, right? You will see in my build, you have like DRR classes that look like this, DRR, DBB, and this is because they are from here. So, for example, you see, like, if you want to visually see an element, you just put the class in, and then it puts the border around it, and then you can see, you know, what's going on. Okay, so the next thing we need to do, we need to create items holder, I think, right? It's going to be div. How did I name it? What was the name I put in there? So I put so it's div and it's items holder. Okay, so it's div items holder. Okay, items holder had what? blue background, right? So we put border, solid blue. So now it's in the center. And how did we style it? Okay, so some of them are absolutely essential. Right, so this one, white space, no wrap, is essential. Well, I'll do it later. So you can see. Okay, so let's give it height and width. Right, so, okay. So this is what it looks like right now. Okay, the next thing we need to do, we need to create a div, I think, right? So div, and I called it items string. I probably should have called it items row, but whatever. Item string is fine. And now we need to map through items, right? So there are what, 5 items? Okay, so we need to create, I think, state with some items in it, right? Yeah, I'll just copy and paste the state. So the first state is this one here, slider array. Now, normally it should have 5 elements, but you have to clone the last and the first element, right? This is because, well, I'll do it without it, and then I'll show you why we're cloning. So we need to put slider r dot map element index, and then we're gonna return, I think we're gonna return a div. We're gonna put in here element with 0 and class name. I think I called it item, right? Did I call it item? I think I called it item. Let me see. Yeah, it is an item. Okay, cool. So it's complaining I have to put key. Okay, key equals element plus index. Let's do it like this. Okay, so now we need to align those items this way, right? And the way to do that is to do item display inline flex. And now, if you want them to overflow, well, I'll show you the problem first. Okay, so let's add some border to it. I don't know, border, 1 pixel solid yellow. Right, let's make it yellow. Then we copy the height. Oh man, it looks like shite with yellow. Anyway, but you see the problem. It's like it's going this way. So the way to overcome this is you need to put you see this white space, no wrap, and then it's gonna go the other way. You see? Now it goes this way. Okay, so maybe put some background onto it. So let's put background. I don't know, what did I make the background? Light blue. I made it light blue. Yeah, so I made it light blue. I positioned all elements in the center. Oh, whoops. Let's remove this. Then I made... Anyway, I'm just gonna like rant. font size, I don't know, 4 elements probably. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is what it looks like now, right? There you go. Okay. So what should we do first? I'm just wondering, what should we do first? Well, let's do moving by hand first. Alright, moving by hand first. Okay, so we need to create, so let's do const what did I call that state? Transition amount, I think I called it, right? Translate amount. Oops, sorry about that. So it's translate amount, right? So this amount is gonna tell the container by how much it's going to transition. So we called it translate amount set translate amount use state, and then okay. So another thing we need to know the width of the element. So const single item. What did I call this? A single item width. Yeah. So we need this from here. You see, like so. In and at the start, we're gonna put this in here. Honestly, you don't have to, but like, I mean, whatever. We can just put it as 0. Oh no, when we're gonna... Yeah, okay. Let's do it this way first. Alright, so now we need to add this into items. I think it's item string. Let me just double check. I'm almost certain it's item string. Yeah. Item string. So item string is going to be style equals transform translate x probably. So here we're going to put translate amount multiplied by, no, we don't need to multiply by anything. No, that's it, I think, right? Oh, by -1. Yeah, multiply by -1. Because it's going to transition negatively, right? Okay. Alright, so now we need to... So now we need to control it somehow, right? So we need to grab it and then move it, right? So states for hand move. Okay, so we need const use down set use down use state false. So this will control whether we are activating or deactivating. Basically, once you go, okay, I'll show you this. Okay, let's do cursor and then grab like this, and then items holder is down like this. So cursor is going to be grabbing like this. So we need to import class names from, whoops, class names, yes. So this is like a framework to control class names. Alright. And then we need to, whoopsie, let's do this here, and then okay. So now you see we have why is it not applying? Oh, we need to add the event. Jesus, I forgot to add the event. So events are gonna go into items holder, not into items string. So just be aware of that, okay? So we're gonna do on mouse down. We're gonna do E handle mouse down. Geez, I know I'm not explaining a lot, but I mean, honestly, I'm just making this video for kind of for myself, because I don't get a lot of views anyway, so. And like, it's too hard to explain. It's just too hard to explain. Because is down controls whether you go into this dragging phase or not. That's why we kind of handle mouse down like this. Set is down to true. We need a second function to deactivate function handle mouse up. Set is down to false, I think, right? Now mouse up equals handle mouse up, like this. Okay, I screwed up in here for sure. Okay, so now look, you see, we have two modes of operation. We have, now we can kind of, we're gonna be dragging, right? You see? So right now I'm pushing my mouse, right now I'm releasing my mouse. You see, so we're controlling whether we're entering the phase of movement. So now you see you have this problem of it highlighting shite in the element. So the way to remove that is user select none. This one here. User select none. So now this will remove this problem, you see. It's not highlighting anything. Okie dokes. So now we need to do, what do we need to do? So we need to capture where the mouse first being clicked. So const start x set start x use state whatever, let's put it as 0. Okay, so this event will be on mouse down, which is gonna be E client X. So this will capture the initial position of the mouse when the user clicks the mouse down, right? Because then we will need another state which will capture how much did he move, and that's going to be the current position of the mouse minus the starting position of the mouse. This will tell you how much was the mouse moved, right? which is const. Oh yeah, we also need to capture current. We need to current translate amount, because if you try to use this live, so on mouse down, you start moving your mouse, it becomes chaotic. So you have to capture, you have to create a separate state to capture the current translate amount. Right, so which is gonna be, what did I call it? Current translate set current translate. View state, we put it as 0 for example. And final one is gonna be mouse moved. What did I call it? Yeah, mouse moved. Set mouse moved. View state as 0. Okay, so when we're clicking mouse down, we want to capture current translate as well, right? So it's very simple. Current translate is going to be equal to translate amount, like this. Now you also want to set mouse moved to 0 in here. Basically, you want to reset mouse moved, because you see, once you move the element, right? Once you move the element and you release the mouse, right? The state of mouse moved will be whatever you moved the mouse, right? And if you try to move it again, it will, because the state is now like, I don't know, 200 pixels, it will start adding those 200 pixels on top of what you are moving right now. So it becomes chaotic. So to avoid that, you have to reset mouse moved. Right? And that's about it. I think that's about it. Okay. Next event we need is handle mouse leave. I'll tell you why we need this, because you see, when you click and drag, when you leave the mouse, like out, well, you see, like right now, it's still on. Like the event is down, is still on, and it's gonna mess up the whole thing, basically, right? So you need to, once the container is being left, you want to disable this dragging functionality, right? So on mouse leave, we're just gonna set is down to false, basically. That's it. And we need to add this to on mouse leave equals handle mouse leave. We can honestly probably just put this thing here, but whatever. So you see now, once we leave the mouse, oh whoops, I forgot to save, I think, right? Yeah, no, I saved. Oh, okay. So you see, once you leave, it stops the functionality from happening. Now, you see, you can still do it this way, but that's because overflow is not set to hidden. You see, so once they leave the container, you just want them to stop being able to move. Because otherwise you're going to have an issue where once you move the mouse out, right, you have to re-click it. Well, I'll show you honestly. I'll just remove the event once we add the clicking, and I'll show you the problems. Okay. So now we need to handle mouse move. So this is probably the most important function. Mouse move. Whoops. So the first thing you want to do in this function is to, because it will trigger every time you move a mouse inside of this element. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to check if is down is false, you do not want to run anything, just return basically. Right? Else you want to set mouse moved to current position of the mouse minus starting position of the mouse. So this will tell us how much the mouse was moved. You can make it as a variable, const how much did the mouse move. Right, so you can just console log it, for example. Honestly, I don't want to go through console logging everything, because I already have done it 1,000,000 times. Because you see, you can see how much did the mouse move, you see. But like guys, if you don't understand something, investigate. Just pause the video and investigate, okay? Because like it's there's so much to explain. Like I spent like what 2 days on this, probably 3 days, because my original build did not work, so I had to literally figure out everything from scratch. And if you have like any severe questions, just leave a comment. Okay. And then finally we need a use effect, basically, right? We need a use effects. Whoopsie. I don't even know if I'll be able to finish this today. Use effect. So we need use effect. And this will work when you move the mouse. So when you move the mouse, you want to set the original set amount translated, well, set amount to basically current translate minus mouse moved, like this. So what this will do, this will either add or remove from current translate, and this will trigger this, and that's how you are able to move shite, you see. Whoops, you cannot move anything yet. Hold on a sec. Something is missing. Oh, yeah. So if this is happening to you, this is because you have to have overflow set to hidden. Or like either scroll or hidden. Otherwise it's not going to work. So overflow, we put it to scroll. Let's just do scroll for now. Okay, now you should be able to... No, it's not moving. Hold on a sec. What did I forget? Maybe overflow hidden? No, that's not supposed to affect it. One sec. Okay, I found what the issue was. The issue was I forgot to put pixels in here. Because I was wondering, why it's not moving. And that's because you need to put pixels. Otherwise it's not gonna move. Oh, whoops. And they have to be in correct location as well. So they should be in here. So now you see, now you can move. Like this. So let's remove mouse leave event. So you'll see what the problem becomes then. If you don't have mouse leave, that's what's gonna happen, you see. And it's still moving. So you have to re-click to stop it. So you see, it just creates problems. So you have to have the mouse leave event basically. Okay. So now we are moving. What else do we want to do? Wait, what are we even doing? I forgot what we were doing. Okay, so I just got zoned out in a little bit because I was trying to figure out what was the problem, Pixels got me, the pixels. This thing got me in here, And also it's end of the day, so I'm a little bit slow. Okay, so what do we need to do next? Okay, so we're scrolling. Everything is fine. What else do we need to do? Well, let me have a look at states. Maybe states are gonna tell me what to do next. Okay, so in theory this kind of completes the tutorial for click and move, right? So next what we want to do, we want to set up buttons where we... Now I can fix the problem with the, the things are not being, like they should go to 5. But it's better to do the buttons first because buttons have half of the fix in them. Right, so... states for buttons, okay? So what are we gonna do? We're gonna do const count, set count, use, use state, start with 0, okay? So then we need to add... So count is technically like the index, right? So we need to add buttons now, right? I think we need to add buttons. Yeah, so we just create div, maybe HR element, and then we'll create 2 buttons, right? One is left, one is right. So on click, do we need E? No, we don't. I think. Let's just, I don't think we need E. Set count. I think it's -1 in here. I always keep getting confused. Okay, so it looks like shit. That's because we need to put container, flex container as a flex direction column. Then it's going to look correct. Yeah, okay, so now you see. Now it's in here. Okay, so this is left button. One click equals set count to count -1. No, that's not how we want to do it. Okay, and the next thing is I think we need to use effect, which will trigger on count. And then we're gonna do set translate, this thing. So count multiplied by whatever the width is, right? Now it's not visible, but you'll see that they are moving. You see they're moving. Like, to make it visible, I need to overflow. I need to remove this, then it's going to be visible. You see? Okay, so now overflow hidden. Okay, so now we need to deal with an issue where... Actually, I'll just keep it like this. So now we need to deal with the issue when you go to the last slide, it will move us to here. Right, so the way to do that is we need to create a copy of 5, right? So when you hit 5, it will move you to this 5. And likewise, if you hit 1 in here, it will move you to this one. So the way to do that is we need to create a copy. So we need to create last at the beginning and then first at the end. Right? So now you see, let's say you are on 1, you go to 5. For you to slide to 4, it has to be here. You see, so you can then move to 4 again. You get to 5 again, the thing slides to here. Okay. And another thing, we need to start, I think, with count with 1. Because wait, what does it start with? Yeah, we can put, because we like right now it starts at 5, but we want it to originally be on 1, I think, right? No. Count should be 1 then, maybe. Yeah. So this is the starting position that we want. All right. So now we need to handle this problem. Okay. So now we need to create a function, I think, right? Do we need to create a function? Okay, so the best way to do it would be to create. We need to add a transition. Transform. 0.5 seconds, right? And let's do ease out. Whoops, ease out. Ease out is, I think, is the best in here, right? So this should give us transition. No, there's no transitions because I forgot to save now. Oh, I'm doing transition on the wrong element, that's why. It should be on item string, I think, right? Should be on this one here, yeah. Okay, now we want to trigger a function on transition end. Alright, so it's gonna be in here on the item string element, right? Let me just double check. I think it should be on. Yeah. So on transition end equals, what do I call it? Handle transition end. I called it like this. Function. We don't need E in here. Okay, so this will do like this. We can console log count. This will be easier for us to see. Okay, so if count is 0, right, if it hits 5, we want count to go to 5, right? So if count is 0, we want it to go to 5. So if count, I should have this already in here somewhere. So if count equals to 0, we want count, set count to go to 5. Okay, so look, starting position, client scrolls here, boom. So now he can infinitely scroll. Whoops. We need to disable the buttons, otherwise, you see, because if you click too fast and transition doesn't end, you can overclick. You see, that's why you have to disable the buttons, right? Oh god, I don't think we're gonna make it today, but let me try. But you get the idea, right? You see? Now we're gonna handle the transition, so it disables the, what you call it? But you get the idea, right? So now we need to do the same for if count, last one is probably 6, then set count to 1, I think, right? Set count to 1. And we need to add return statements as well. We don't really need one here, but just for yourself, it's gonna be better. Okay, cool. So now we have these transition effects, right? So we go to 1, okay. We go here. Okay, so now we need to stop the transition from happening, so this roll effect doesn't happen. Right, so the way to do that is we need to create a class, which is gonna be item string. What did I call it? I think I called it no transition. Yeah, I called it no transition. No transition. And we put transition as none. Okay, so now we need to stop this transition from happening. And the way to do that is we need to create a new class. And we call it const. What did I call it? I called it stop anim. So stop animation. Set. You can call it whatever you want. Right? Okay. If state equals to false. And I put it to handle transition end to here, I think, right? How did I do it? Let me just remind myself. I think I put it into the button as well. Oh, wait. Yeah. So now we need to apply this class somehow. And the way we apply this class is... Yeah. So we put... Every time transition ends, it stops the transition. Right? So we need to apply the class. So we need to apply the class in here, I think, right? Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's not a problem. We have to stop the... Okay. So we need to stop the transition. Well, let's just deal with one thing at a time. So right now, if stop anim is true, let it apply this class, right? So it's gonna get messy because you see now there's no animation, right? Whoops. Now you see it's not jumping because there's no animation, right? So on every click we need to set anim to true, right? So we need to add this here. So set anim to true. Now it's going to work correctly. Yeah, I think this took me a while to figure this out. Oh, whoops, it should be false. Not true. Yeah, so now you see. Right now it stopped animation and jumped. Now you don't see it because animation happens, but you see it stopped the animation and then it jumped. And this happens on transition end. So remember, every time transition ends, there is no animation, right? So this allows you to instantly jump. So do you see it's not visible? The scroll is no longer visible. Where it's doing this basically. You see? Do you remember, like, we go to 5, we go to 1, and it just started doing this. And then it started doing this. Because we are switching off the transition, it happens instantly. So the client will be able to see it, right? Okay, so we fixed this. So the second problem is because we now have the transition. No, actually it's fixed. Huh. It's fixed automatically. Yeah, because only buttons move it, right? So yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember why I added this. Because I have, like, in my tutorial, you'll see that I have in here or is down is true. Because when I originally built it, I had transition, like, basically you have to switch off transition when you're grabbing and moving. Otherwise you're gonna get this weird effect. Let me just show you. Let me just do this basically. So now we should have, yeah. Okay, so Now you see you're gonna have this. So now you see we're back to the problem, but now you see you're grabbing and moving, and because there is half a second delay in the transition, it starts to do this weird behavior, right? So when you're in grabbing mode, you want to disable animation, right? And that's what, like, the way to do that is you can put stop animation is down, like this, right? So now you see, like, as soon as you enter the animation mode, it stops the thing. But since we are using stop anim on every transition end, we don't really need it. Is down in here. We don't need is down because this takes care of this functionality. I'm gonna actually remove it from is down. Yeah, we don't need it in here. And I put a note that used to have or is down. Yeah, okay, now that makes sense. No, actually, I think we will still need it. I think we will still need it, to be honest with you. Yeah, because I'm thinking that when you're gonna start manually moving them. Okay. Let's just do it without it and then see what happens, right? Okay, so far everything is working how it should be, right? Now this is gonna get fixed automatically by we're gonna add a function, so this will get fixed. So now we need to disable buttons so that client doesn't overclick, right? So const what did I call it? Button disable, I think, or something like this, right? I called it button disable. Button disable. And then we have set button disable use state false. So as soon as we click a button, we need to disable it, right? Yes, so we set this to true. So we disable the button. Then we add disabled equals true. Oh, whoops. Button disable like this. Whoops. Whoopsie. Okay. Okay, so now we need a way to activate it, right? And I think I put it into on transition end. Yeah. So on transition end, as soon as transition ends, we want to activate the buttons, right? We don't need to console log count anymore. Let's just remove it. And then set button disable to false. Whoopsie. Oh god, I'm getting so tired. Okay, so now we should have Yeah, so now there is no overclicking, you see. The client cannot overclick anymore. Okay, so what else do we need to do next? Yeah, so the final one is we need to create this thing where if we move more than halfway, it will transition like this. If we don't move more than halfway, it will go back to original position. Okay. This is a humongous function. This is like this one is like the biggest function, I think. It's not the most important, but I mean it's the biggest. Handle transition after mouse move. Okay, so what are we accomplishing with this? Wait, I forgot direction, I think, right? Huh, I don't even need this. Set direction button, click left. Yeah, there's one state that you don't even need, I think. Yeah. Yeah, that was probably my old build. So you can ignore this state here. We don't need it. Set direction button clicked. We don't need it. Because it appears also in here, but we're not using it, so you can ignore it probably. Okay, so in here, yeah, that's because this function exists, that's why we don't need it. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we're gonna do a test in here, like, so we're gonna do tests, right? So tests are, did we move the button to left, or did we move the mouse to the left or to the right? Right? So if we moved the mouse to the right, it's going to have a positive value. If it moved to the left, it's going to have a negative value. Right? So we do const move right equals mouse moved is going to be bigger than 0, right? Const move the left mouse moved. So mouse moved is the state. Do you remember we were capturing which way the mouse was moved? So if it's negative, it's left. If it's positive, it's right. Right? So the next test is going to be const. You can console log them yourself if you want, right? Const. So when the person moved the mouse to the right, is it bigger than half of this value? So did he move it more than half of the screen of the container? Right? So moved right and bigger than half, right? Equals. So mouse moved must be positive. It must be bigger. Now we're gonna put equal sign in here because if it's actually we don't need equal sign in here. Just that. It has to be bigger. It has to be positive value, and it has to be half of this. Divided by 2. And then const moved left and bigger than half is going to be mouse moved is going to be smaller than this multiplied by -2 because it's a negative value. Remember, this negative value, right? And now finally we create conditions. So if mouse moved to the right, and it's bigger than half a screen, we want to simply set count to count -1, I think, right? I keep forgetting it's -1 or yeah, -1. Because what's going to happen is it's going to shift it, right? It's going to replicate a click right, basically. That's what it's going to do. You see, it's going to replicate this button click here. That's what it's going to replicate, right? Now the second condition is, where am I? Yeah, I just put a bookmark so I can see it. So the second condition is if moved right and less than half of the screen. So what we're gonna do, remember, transition happened, right? So, right, like at this stage, it's gonna look like this, right? Something like this. So we want to move it back into this position here. And the way we do that is we're simply gonna multiply. We're simply gonna take. We're gonna take count, which didn't change, and multiply it by whatever the single width thingy is, right? So we're gonna take count, multiply by whatever this value is in here. So it will shift it back. Like I understand it's like it's very confusing, but I'm telling you, like it took me 3 days to really kind of understand the logic, fix all the bugs, because it was buggy as hell. Try to understand where the bugs are, and then kind of make it. Do you know what I mean? So I cannot just explain 3 days in like, I don't know, 30-minute videos. So it's just not gonna happen. So if now we do the same only for left. So if moved left is true, and bigger than half is true, we want to replicate the left click, which is going to be this here. +1, I think, right? And if moved left and this thing here, we are going to replicate this here. This thing here. And we need return statements as well. I forgot the return statements. Technically, in theory, they should not. You can also use switch statements in here, but I mean, whatever. And I mean, if none of the conditions are met, we're just gonna use this. Okay, and this thing, where should I put it? I forgot. Where did I put this thing? I think I put it... This took me a while to figure out. So one is when is down. So we need to create a new use effect. And we want to trigger this every time is down is changed. Yeah, this took me like today, actually half a day, to figure this out. And then the second position, we put it... I think it was somewhere else. Or no, that's it. Okay. Okay, so it's working, but there's one problem. is there's no animation, you see. So if we move it slightly less than half, it goes back. If we move it more than half, it jumps. But we have no animation. So that means on mouse down, we need to set mouse animation to false, which is in here, I think, right? Yeah, that's what I thought was going to create this problem. Yeah, so we need to add, yeah, that's what I thought, we need to add this thing in here, which is or is down. Like this. I should fix this. Yeah. So this fixes this problem. It's not like super good visible, but I have to show you like this. So you see, if we go only a little bit, it does this. That's pretty much it, I think, right? Yeah. So I have 13 seconds left. Okay. So the final one will be buttons, right? We want to have buttons in here that indicate which one is being selected right now, right? So okay, so which one is being selected? So we need to have 5 buttons, right? We need to have 5 buttons. Where are we gonna put it? We're gonna put it in here. Yeah, so it's gonna be here. Buttons that show active thingy. Okay, so how we're gonna do it? Probably div. We need like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Map. Is that the way I've done it? I think that's the way I've done it, right? I'm sorry, I'm starting to rush a bit, but I mean, because I want to take a break. I'm just so tired. Okay, how did I do it? Oh. I just put 5 buttons, literally physically. Well, we can do it this way, it doesn't matter, it makes no difference. It's gonna be the same. So it's gonna be button, and then we're gonna have an element in here. Oh, it's going to complain. It's probably going to complain, right? Is it going to complain? No. Okay. Now this one is like super easy, right? So if count matches, then we apply class with some I don't know. I put background active slide button. Whatever, let's just do background color red. I mean, this part is like piss easy, honestly. It's just so easy to do. So we use class names. class name equals class names, and then we're gonna apply this class when, okay, now we need when count will be equal to 1, I think. Let me just have a look. Now is a good idea to console log count, right? So let's console log count, and then we can see which one. Okay, so on slide number 1, oh shit. Yeah, we cannot do map. Yeah. We cannot do map. Because... oh no, we can. So, the first one is gonna be index is gonna be 0, right? Oh man, I'm making it more complicated than it should be, but whatever. Okay, let's do it. So first of all, index I has to be 0. Yeah, but then all of them are gonna apply, right? Yeah. No. I equals to 0 and count equals to 1, right? So this should give us the first one. Yes. No, it's gonna get very complicated. Because then you have to create if conditions. If index is like 1 and count as 2, we apply... yeah. Okay. So we're gonna do it differently. We're gonna make 5 buttons, basically, like this. Button x5, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and we're gonna apply class name, class names. So the first button is gonna activate when count is equal to whatever is equal to, I think it's 1. Count equals to 1, I think like this. Yeah. Okay. Then we literally copy this to all of them. Now only 1 and 5 are gonna have slight changes. Like, so this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, right? Okay. So now, look, you see we have 4, 5, and it's gonna be blank, right? That's because it jumped. Remember, there was transition, right? So okay, so it's 4, 5, 6, and 1, right? So 5. So on 6, 1 should also be active. On 6, 1 should also be active. Or count equals to 6, right? So this should be, so we go 4, 5, and now it should be, yeah. On 6, 1 also. Okay, now we need to do on 0 and 5. So 0 and 5 should also, otherwise you see you get this weird effect where it just stops for, you see, and now it appears, right? So it's because 0 has no active class, and 0 is the same as 5, right? So when count is 0, we want 5 to be active. So we'll count equals to 0, 5 should be active. So now we should not have any of this mumbo jumbo happening here. Whoops. Okay. Yes, okay. All good. And that's it. That's the whole video. Done. I don't know. I might make a repo and I put it in here, because I mean this is done. Yeah. Like I'll just put it in here. So this is my final. This is actually probably the best build, honestly, because in here I have this. I don't need this. Not needed. Yeah, this part here is not needed at all. So I didn't even use it. Not needed. Yeah, so I'll put the YouTube repo in here so you can see. Alright, take care. Like and subscribe. Bye bye.